Good morning, everybody. How are we all doing today? Is it a good day all around? Or is it a very good day all around? In my opinion, it's a good day because we got some fun things planned. Are you all excited? Yes, I'm aware that right now the stream is 100% dying. And I don't know why. So, unfortunate, but it looks like the internet has stabilized. So, we'll just keep going from there. Anyway. Welcome everybody to Funky Bunch at Sunday Brunch Podcast. I'm your host, DJ Funky Fresh. You can find me live at Twitch at twitch.tv/DJ_funky_fresh. Basically every day. You can find videos of a majority of my podcast streams and just gaming videos at youtube.com/DJ_funky_fresh gaming. And obviously, you can find this podcast on Spotify and SoundCloud. Just look for Funky Bunch at Sunday Brunch Podcast or DJ Funky Fresh. So, there we go. But now, I know what most of you are here for. You guys are here for the interesting topic that we got today, and I'm going to be working your brains. Today, I will be explaining and we will be doing logic puzzles. So for a quick background on why I think logic puzzles would be fun is, one, as part of the bar process, I actually had to solve several logic puzzles. And once you get the hang of it, they're actually quite fun. Sure, they're challenging. Sure, they try to confuse you. But once you've learned how to work out most of that, it's actually quite a fun challenge. And I figured now we could play with that. So, what exactly is a logic puzzle? Logic puzzles come in all different shapes and sizes. But one of the most common logic puzzles is referred to as the logic grid puzzle. In each logic grid puzzle, you are given a series of categories and an equal number of options within each category. Each option is used once and only once, and your goal is to figure out which options are linked together based on a series of given clues. Each puzzle has only one unique solution, and each can be solved using simple logical processes. Thus, educated guesses are not required. Some websites that you can do these logic puzzles on give you a custom grid, but you can also create your own custom grid, which allows you to cross-reference every possible option in every category. So you can eliminate pairs you know aren't true with an X, and pencil in pairs you know are related with an O, or like a check, or an X, a dot, and an X. You know, whatever you like to do is how you can do these. So, you continue doing, this for every clue until eventually you've filled in enough X's and O's on the board that you're able to use simple logic to deduce the solution. For instance, you've got 4 X's in a row, and then there's only one grid left. It's just, there's lots of different types of puzzles and things that you can do. But anyway, we're going to do one quick how to solve logic puzzles puzzle together. You will need to obviously do your own. Well, that exploded. You will need to do your own grid for this one, but every other one we're going to do today will be online. And I will provide you all with links, and we'll do it all together allowed. So, I broke my pen. Yay! Anyway, so, if you've never solved a logic puzzle before, this introduction will show you how. We will go step by step through 2 simple puzzles. We'll probably just do one of them, because one of them is a logic grid puzzle. The other is a different puzzle. So, a logic puzzle is a test of your ability to think clearly. Usually, you're asked to match up sets of things. For example, you might be told that 4 men each own an exotic pet. And to solve the puzzle, you'd need to match each name's first name with his last name and his kind of pet. You figure out how to match them by studying the list of clues, like the llama does not belong to Dwayne. To make solving easier, puzzlers like to use solving grid to record data they've deduced. Seeing the information neatly organized, and black and white helps them to make further deductions. There are 2 kinds of solving grids, the cross-hatch grid and the fill-in grid. We'll only be using the fill-in grid, so let's see. Let's look at how a typical puzzle that works best with the cross-hatch grid. Oh my god, I 100% broke this. New pen. Okay, so we're going for pet owners. So if you want to write this down, leave a couple of spaces at the top so that you can write things upwards, but we're going to go down now. So we've got 5 names. We've got Abner, Abner. We've got Bruce, Chuck, it's 4 names, and Dwayne. So, really going down, Abner, Bruce, Chuck, Dwayne. And of course, I'm going to draw a line straight down next to their names so that I can separate all these. And then below that, we've got the 4 animals. There is iguana. There is a jackal. Hello, Steffi GT. Welcome to this. We're doing logic puzzles today. We've got a king cobra and a llama. And then across the top, we're going to have those next, ones, but they're going to be the last names and then the 4 pets again. So then we've got, and then the first one, it's Engels, Engels. Engels. There is Foster. There is that Gunter? Yeah, Gunter. And then there is Halvey. Halvey. Halevy. And then the next 4 are just the 4 pets again. The iguana, jackal, king cobra, and the llama. But anyway, setting up the grid is the most annoying part, but also the most helpful for when you need to actually set up these grids. So, yeah. A lot of the times they try to confuse you, but So we're going to be going through these clues right now, one at a time, and then we're going to just try to figure out who can be what. So the first clue is Mr. Engels, whose pet is named Sparky. Abner and Mr. Foster all belong to a club for owners of unusual pets. So that right there tells us that Abner, his last name cannot be Engels or Foster. So you can easily throw in 2 X's under the row for Abner, under the Engels and the Foster section. Really, the belong to a club for owners of unusual pets. All 4 of those are unusual pets technically, so. But then we move to clue 2, which is the iguana isn't owned by Chuck or Dwayne. So we go to the iguana going down, and then we, kind of mark off that the iguana cannot be Chuck or Dwayne. Neither the jackal nor the king cobra is owned by Mr. Foster. Once again, find the Mr. Foster, go all the way down. Yes? How did you set up your grid? Because you should have 8 going down: Abner, Bruce, Chuck, Dwayne, iguana, jackal, king cobra, llama, and then across the top you should have the last names in the pets: Engels, Foster, Gunter, Halvey, then iguana, jackal, king cobra, llama. At least that's how I did it. It'll be much easier once we get through this practice logic puzzle. Well, yeah, but you're still going down. So you go find iguana, and then you go down till it hits Chuck, and then Dwayne. Yeah. Sorry, what I was saying made sense to me. What you're saying makes sense as well. I mean, you can do it in multiple different areas. Oh, no. No. Not at all. We're going down there for the 3rd clue. So. Yes, no worries. Anyway, back to the 3rd clue that we're working on, which is neither the jackal nor the king cobra is owned by Mr. Foster. So obviously go to Mr. Foster, slide down to that bottom left, and then we mark off the jackal and the king cobra. And clue number 4 is the llama doesn't belong to Dwayne. And then they tell us whose pet is named Waggles. Abner, who does not own a king cobra, is not Gunter. Okay. The llama doesn't belong to Dwayne, whose pet is named Waggles. I don't think knowing that his name is Waggles matters. Because we don't have anything telling us about pet names. I think that's them just throwing things in that are confusing. so the next one is Abner, who doesn't own the King Cobra, is not Mr. Gunter. Yes. So we do have a last name for Abner, which is Halvey. Six says Bruce and Mr. Foster are neighbors. I don't see how that helps us right now. But number 7 is Mr. Halvey is afraid of iguanas. Which helps us determine who owns an iguana. That's true. That does tell you that Bruce is not Mr. Foster. Didn't think about that one either. See? Things like that. Which, I mean... Also, let's see. Angles, Abner, and Foster all own abnormal pets. Which would mean... Let's see. Sorry, I'm going back to clue 1. So, Angles, Foster, and Abner. Abner is Halvey. So, Halvey, Angles, and Foster all own exotic animals. Which would mean none of them would own... Well, no, that's not true. So we're gonna go into this walkthroughs series of clues. So it says, like, let's look at clue number 1. First, from it, we can see that Abner isn't Mr. Angles or Mr. Foster. We record this information in the grid at the intersection of Abner and Angles and at Abner and Foster. See, they jump from that to number 5, which is, now let's look at clue 5. From it, we learned that Abner doesn't own the King Cobra and that Abner isn't Mr. Gunter. Put the X's in the intersections of Abner and Gunter and Abner and King Cobra. If you are careless, you might be thinking to put an X in the intersection of Gunter and King Cobra. Does Mr. Gunter own the King Cobra? Well, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, but clue 5 doesn't say anything about it. You don't want to jump to a wrong conclusion, or you'll get confused later. Now, at a glance, you can see that Abner's isn't Mr. Angles, Foster, or Mr. Gunter. We can make a deduction that Abner must be Mr. Halvey. So then you put your check or your dot, that means yes, at the intersection of Abner and Halvey. That means we can also put X's in the intersections of Halvey for Bruce, Chuck, and Dwayne. Just to, let them know that, nope, you can't be this. So this was a fairly simple deduction, but in order to solve the puzzle, you'll need to make some deductions that are a little trickier. So... sometimes with a very easy puzzle, just putting the information in the grid is enough to make the solution fall out to you. This puzzle's a bit harder though, and at first glance, there doesn't seem to be enough information to make any more deductions once you've filled out the entire grid. But the information is there. You just have to work with it a little bit. So then, let's see. So it says Mr. Halvey doesn't own the iguana. Since Abner's Mr. Halvey, that means Abner doesn't own the iguana either, right? So then you put the intersection of Abner and iguana, and you're ready to make another deduction that the iguana is owned by Bruce, which we have made. Add the appropriate dot and X's to the grid. So Bruce isn't Mr. Foster, So Mr. Foster doesn't own the iguana. Voila, you've got another deduction that Mr. Foster owns the llama. Which, there we go. No, they were saying, be careful what you're doing because you don't want to make an assumption based on things. No, we haven't figured out who Bruce is yet. Oh, you went ahead in the logic. Okay, I'm doing things one at a time. So, Mr. Foster is either Chuck or Dwayne, while the llama's owner is either Abner or Chuck. Since both are the same man, it must be Chuck who is Mr. Foster and owns the llama. So it looks like they're saying since the llama is owned by a Foster, and the only two people who can own a llama are Chuck and Abner, and Mr. Foster can only be Chuck or Dwayne, they're saying because the two things that match up are work out to be the same. That's how it is. So let's see. Now, Abner Halvey's pet can only be a jackal, which makes Dwayne's pet the king cobra. Yeah, that's the problem. Sometimes you'll go ahead and then, you'll miss something. So, yeah. And of course, but now you'll seem to be stuck because Bruce owns the iguana, Dwayne owns the king cobra, but you can't tell from the grid which one is Mr. Angles and which one is Mr. Gunter. Is there anything in the clues that you've missed? The answer is yes. Mr. Angles' pet is named Sparky, while Dwayne's pet is named Waggles. So how does Waggles and Sparky tell you the pet? Is really my question. A jackal? That would help. But, the final solution is, though, that it's Bruce Angles owns an iguana. Chuck Foster owns the llama. Dwayne Gunter obviously owns the king cobra. And, Abner Halvey owns the jackal. It's a bit more difficult to do things, on paper. Because, you've got clues going everywhere. You've got, markings. You make mistakes and everything. And that's why we're actually going to be doing the rest of these online. Because they've got a nice little... They've got an interactive grid. So you don't have to create your own. But if you want to take notes, that's why I said grab a pen and paper. So, for those of you who want to go do this online, we're going to go to brainzilla.com. So, BrainZilla.com. Right. So, from Brainzilla, it happens to get massively confused. So, once you're at brainzilla.com, at the top banner, it'll be like home, logic games, word games, puzzles, brain teasers. Click on logic games, which will open up a nice little thing, and then go all the way to the right to logic grid puzzles, and then click on that. And we're going to be doing logic grid puzzles online. So, are you all on the logic grid puzzle page? Good. So we're first going to do the very easy puzzle, superheroes. You should open up to the it'll be a nice three names, 3 ages, 3 superheroes type of deal. So, this is a very easy one, and we're going to do 4 of them. So they're going to get progressively harder, and if we have time, we'll do even more. So, you guys can go ahead and do these on your own. You can do them with me, but, you know, we're going to be taking this one clue at a time. So, for those of you who are deciding not to do it and just want to know, so we're doing superheroes, and to solve this logic puzzle, we have to find out the name, the age, and the favorite superhero of each kid. The names we have are Brian, Sean, and Tony, ages 6, 8, and 10, and the superheroes are Batman, Spider-Man, and Superman. So the first clue is Brian likes Spider-Man. Well, that makes life super easy. When you click on the grid, you do one click for an X, 2 clicks for a check. And then, of course, you can go over to the clues on the right and click on them, and it'll cross out the clue to say that you've finished it. Clue number 2 is that Tony doesn't like Superman. So then you can put an X there, and then a check for Tony. And due to elimination, you can see that Sean likes Superman. Let's see. And now, clue number 3 is the youngest kid likes Spider-Man. Youngest kid is 6, so move on over to Spider-Man. Put a check there. And then, of course, conversely, we know that Brian likes Spider-Man. Make it Brian 6 years old. And then finally, the last clue we have is the kid who likes Superman is 8. So Sean likes Superman, making him 8. Which makes Tony, who likes Batman, 10. Right. This one was very easy, so you weren't going to have any issues. So, right. Let's see. Did Panda get a chance to finish the puzzle, and is this making sense to everybody else? Just want to make sure we're not forging ahead. Good. Then we'll move on to the next one. So now we're going to go into the easy puzzles, and we're going to do bedtime. So, bedtime. You've got 4 kids, each with one specific age, go to bed at different times. Follow the clues to figure out when Larry goes to bed. And this is where you'll probably want to actually write things down. Because for clue 1, it is the oldest kid goes to bed 30 minutes earlier than Harold. So... For me, I'm writing down oldest, and then I point to Harold. And then next to Harold, I'm writing by 30 min. So to me, that's saying that I can look down here and see that, all right, well, whoever is the oldest goes to bed 30 minutes prior to Harold. And then we have Donald sleeps later than Vincent. So then we're kind of gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna write Vincent points to Donald. And we've got Donald is 6 years old. So there's a nice thing. We've got the youngest boy sleeps at 8 p.m. So then we've got 8 p.m. The youngest boy sleeps at 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to put Y for youngest. So what I did there is I wrote down 4 slots for the times, and then I put in the 8 p.m. slot, I put youngest, which we don't know yet. And number 5, the kid who sleeps at 8:30 p.m. is either the 6-year-old or Harold. Well, let's take a look at this. So it's 8:30. So it says, so clue number 1 and 5 go together. So clue number 1 is the oldest kid goes to bed 30 minutes earlier than Harold, which would mean that the oldest kid cannot go to bed at 8 p.m. You know? But also, the kid who goes to sleep at 8:30 is either 6 or Harold. And that's impossible. Because Harold cannot go to bed at 8. Because the eldest child goes to bed sooner than him. And he cannot be in the 8:30 because the 5-year-old goes to bed at 8. Therefore, clue 5, the kid who sleeps at 8:30 is 6 years old. Which means Donald goes to bed at 8:30. Using that leap of logic. But also, Donald sleeps later than Vincent, which means the 5-year-old is Vincent, because Donald is 6, who goes to bed at 8:30. Which also means that Harold goes to bed at 9:30. And Larry goes to bed at 9, which makes Larry the 8-year-old. And Harold the 7-year-old. Did my jumps in deductive reasoning make sense to you? You are very lost. Okay, where are you? I would like to try to explain things. If I can. You don't know how I got that Donald goes to bed at 8:30. Okay, so look at clue 5. Clue 5 says the kid who sleeps at 8:30 is either 6 years old or is Harold. But now let's go up to clue number 1, which is the oldest kid goes to bed 30 minutes earlier than Harold. Right? So therefore, Harold cannot go to bed at 8 because he needs to go to bed earlier. Or somebody needs to go to bed earlier than him. It also can't be... he also can't go to bed at 8:30 because the kid who goes to bed 30 minutes prior to him is 5 years old. And we're looking for the oldest kid to go to bed 30 minutes earlier. And because of that, 8:30 has to be the 6-year-old kid. And clue 3 tells us that Donald is 6 years old. So by that reasoning, Donald is 6 and goes to bed at 8:30. But that also tells us, and then once you get that, that actually answers, who Vincent is. Because Donald sleeps later than Vincent. Donald is sleeping at 8:30, meaning that the only person who could sleep earlier than Donald is Vincent. Therefore, Vincent is the 5-year-old. Does that make sense? There you go. And then, of course, we know that Harold goes to bed at 9:30, which makes Larry going to bed at 9. And we know that Larry is the oldest boy, and Harold is the 7-year-old. Simply because Harold goes to bed later than the eldest boy, and the only other boy we don't know the age of other than Harold is Larry. And then the pieces just fall into place from there. Does that make sense? And please let me know if I start going way too fast so that we can slow these down and do them together. I don't want to pull so far ahead that everyone's confused. It's okay. We're here to do these together, so we'll do them slowly. Alright, next we're going to medium, and we're doing bowling night. So go find the medium puzzles for bowling night. So, bowling night. The prompt is, 4 friends brought their favorite bowling ball to play bowling together. How many points did the blue ball's owner score? So this one's very tricky. You've got 4 names, Josh, Kelly, Mark, Paula. You've got 4 colors, black, blue, green, gold. And you have 4 weights, 13 pounds, 14 pounds, 15 pounds, 16 pounds. And you have 4 scores, 95, 100, 105, and 110. So, clue number 1 looks like it's nothing, but it's actually something. Kelly, the player who scored 100 points, and the player who did 95 points are 3 different players. So that tells you right there that Kelly did not score 95 points or 100 points. So that right there was a good clue. Because obviously it allows you to knock off 2 potential scores for Kelly. The next clue, clue 2, is the gold ball weighs 15 pounds. Easy. Just go down to gold and then the poundage and pound it. Next is Josh's ball is black. Another pretty easy just to throw it there. number 4, which is the player who scored 100 points, Paula and Josh, are different people, which leaves Mark as the only player who scored 100 points. Did that make sense? My jump in logic for that. Just to make sure you guys are still following along. Yes. Anytime I do a jump in logic, I'm going to try to do a little better. Repeat. Okay, so the player who scored 100 points, Paula and Josh, are all 3 different players. So you're going to mark off under the 100 points score, you're going to knock off Paula and Josh, because the person who scored 100 points cannot be Paula and it cannot be Josh. And by clue 1, it cannot be Kelly either, leaving only Mark, who scored 100 points. Okay. So next is Paula scored 10 points less than the player who owns the 14-pound ball. So, do we have anything that can knock off the 14-pound ball? Yes. The 14-pound ball cannot be 105 or 110. Or, wait. No, I did that wrong. The 14-pound ball cannot be 95 or 100. My bad. So, the reason for that is because it says Paula scored 10 points less than the person who owns the 14-pound ball. Which means Paula has to score 95 or 100. Which means Paula can't be holding the 14-pound ball if they scored less, which means the lowest score obviously can be 105, because that can take us down to 95 by 10, or 100 from 110. Does that make sense? Slight jump in logic right there. I just want to make sure, once again, that I'm helping everyone, making sure we're all there. So, okay. So, that leaves us with clue 6, which is the player who scored 100 points, which is Mark. Is either the owner of the green ball or the owner of the 15-pound ball. So we can actually knock off the blue ball from that, but we can't do anything else. So the reason for that is because we know that the 15-pound ball is the gold ball, and we know that it's Mark who has the 100. So that means Mark either has the green or the gold ball. Other than that, we don't know. So, next is clue 7, which is the owner of the heaviest ball scored 5 points less than the player who has the green ball. So, the 15-pound ball, or the 16-pound ball, either so it cannot be 110. That's about all I have for that. Now we're going to have to go back through these clues to see if we can reduce these anymore, because we really don't have a lot here. Quite literally, we have like nothing. So Kelly did not score 100 or 95, which we already know, which means Kelly scored 105 or 110. Paula, Josh, and Mark obviously are all different people, which was not 100. You say Paula scored 95. What's your reasoning on that one? Just curious. I do not have that marked. Just you. I'm curious why you did that. I'm just curious. You don't remember. You have it marked as well? I'm curious why you have Paula marked down for the 95. Right. I mean, I could have also done something. Or missed something. Oh, I see why you have it. Yes. I see why you have it. Yes, you are right. Paula did get a score of 95. It's because Paula scored 10 points less than the player who owns the 14-pound ball, meaning Paula could only have scored 95 or 100. See, I did it the other way, which was the green ball could not have scored 95 or 100. So that would do it. So that's 100% out of the way. Right. So that leaves Kelly or Josh at the 105 and 110. So really the first thing we should try to figure out is who owns the green ball, if we can. Which, unfortunately for us, we don't have too much going for us on that. Yes, so Kelly or Josh own the green ball. Which means Kelly owns the green ball. Because Josh owns the black ball. Mark owns the gold ball, and Paula owns the blue ball. Right. We don't know who has the 14-pound ball just yet. We only know one weight so far, which is the gold ball. Okay, so... No, I said we don't know who owns... We only know one ball weight, which is the gold ball, which is 15 pounds. We know Paula and Mark cannot have the 14-pound ball. The 14, yeah. Because Paula scored 10 points less than the person with the 14-pound ball. So the scores of 95 and 100 cannot be the 14-pound ball. So, until we figure out... Actually, the 14-pound ball is with the score 105, actually. So we do know that. actually, we know that the heaviest pound ball scored 5 points less than the player who has the green ball. And the green ball cannot be 95 or 100, which means the green ball is associated with a score of 110. Which means Kelly has the green ball and scored 110, making Josh 105. Which means the owner of the heaviest ball is Kelly. Mark has the 15-pound ball, which is the gold. So, green is 16 pounds. I'm just trying to mark things off as we get to them, just to make sure I don't forget things. Heaviest pound was this, which is 110. Uh, 14, Josh, black. Apparently I have Josh down as ball of weighting 14. That doesn't make sense. Mark has the gold ball. Actually, yeah, it has to be. Yeah, so the 105 ball, which is Josh's, which is the black, is 14 pounds. And then the 13 pound goes to Paula for a score of 95. Well, that's the hard thing, trying to figure out where you went wrong. So 13 pound was Paula. Josh is the 14 pound. According to this, yeah, my logic is also wrong somewhere. Yes, somewhere in our tangled mess is an issue. Alright, let's go back through this. So I have Paula with 95. So Kelly cannot be 95 or 100. Mark is the 100. We knew that one for sure. We know the gold ball. It's 15 pounds. I wish there was a nice way of actually being able to have somebody have the answer fleshed out. This is why logic puzzles are fun, but also difficult. Because you screw one thing up, you basically gotta do everything over again. Which is actually what I'm going to do. Okay. Let's see. Kelly cannot be 95 or 100. Gold ball weighs 15 pounds. Yep. To the beginning! Josh's ball is black. Mark is the only one who could score 100. Paula scored 10 points less than whoever owns the 14-pound ball, which means Paula is the 95. So far, we're just following the direct logic. The person that scored 100 points is either the green ball or the 15-pound ball owner. The owner of the heaviest ball scored 5 points less than the person who has the green ball. Okay. So. Let's see. Where can the logic take us? So the 14-pound ball has to be 105. Because it's Paula, who scored 10 points less. The black ball cannot be 95 or 100. So the player who scored 100, which is Mark, either has the green ball or the gold ball. The green ball cannot be the heaviest ball. You've got green is 100. Let's see. Okay, green is 100. Where'd you jump with the logic for that? Just so that we're, because we have to eliminate the 15-pound ball for that. Which I do agree with. I just want to make sure that I'm actually following better logic this time since we're restarting this. Let's see. Green. It's not gold, obviously. Yeah, making it like Minesweeper would be nice where it actually shows you where you screw up. But that's also why this is fun. You know? Yeah, it can't be the heaviest. But what eliminates the lightest? Or the, you know. Oh, I see. So what you're saying is it has to be green because the player who has the heaviest ball scored 5 points less. And you're saying it makes sense for Paula to have the heaviest ball if Mark has the green ball. Okay, that makes sense. Which means the 15-pound ball is obviously not going to be owned by Mark or Paula. Mark has the green, which is the 14-pound. Let's see. 14 is green. Mark is 100. Let's see. Logic is fun at 10 in the morning, isn't it, guys? And to think I was doing these to pass the bar 2-3 years ago. Actually, right around this time, funnily enough. Paula owns the heaviest bowl. Which means the heaviest bowl is right here. Yes, very sleepy. We're doing these on brainzilla.com in the logic grid section. It's called Bowling Night if you want to follow, but we're just having fun here. Yeah, there we go. Get that link posted. Yes. Just solving things. We've got green and gold for poundage. We've got Paula and Mark for score. Figuring out the weight for the score for, well, figuring out whose ball is gold would also help. So we've got 2 ball colors known. Hey, you can always do these at any time that you want, too. Now that you've got the link. Alright, let's go back through these again. Let's see. Kelly, the player who scored 100 points, and the player who did 95 are 3 different players. Obviously, we got that taken care of. So Kelly is not the 100 or 95. The gold ball weighs 15 pounds. Got that. Josh's ball is black. Got that. The player scored 100. Paula and Josh are 3 different players. Paula, Josh, and Mark. Paula scored 10 points less than the person who owns the 14-pound ball, which means the 105 is obviously the 14-pound ball. Wait. Which means the 14-pound ball cannot be the green ball, actually. Mark owns the gold ball, and the green ball obviously is at 105, which means Mark has the 15-pound ball, which leaves the player with a score of 110 with a 13-pound ball. Ugh. That kind of throws everything for a loop there. So gold to Mark. So 110 is gold. Okay. Which means the blue is the score of 95. Right? No. Black is 105. Yeah, blue is 95. Yes. I have 110 as gold. Wait, hold on. No, Mark has it, which puts that at 100. Yeah. I flipped those. Gold should be 100. Green should be 110. Ugh. I don't know how I flipped that at all. Jeez. It's a nightmare here. Yeah. Still gotta figure out Kelly and Josh, but... So the 14-pound ball is the 105. Yeah. So, do we have any clue about the black ball? The black ball is Josh, which means Josh scored a 105, which means Kelly has the 110. And we know that the 110 is the 13-pound ball and the green ball. Which makes Paula with the blue ball. So Josh has the 105, which is 14. Kelly has 110, which is the green, which is 13. Nope, still wrong. Fuck. I thought I was following good logic for that. Gosh. I want to know the answer. You honestly feel like... Right, because then you'll do something wrong. Josh has the black. Yeah, that's hard. I agree. Right. It could be, but you never really know. Like, there are some things you know for a fact. Like, for instance, Paula has to be 95 because she can't be 100. You know? And, Paula has to be 10 points less than the player who owns the 14-pound ball, which means whoever has 105 has to have the 14-pound ball. And whoever has the green ball has to have somebody has to be next to the person with the heaviest ball to their left, which means it can't be the. Obviously, we know the heaviest ball can't be 105. We just got to figure out what the green ball is, which really kind of only puts it at the 100 spot, which is, or puts it at the 110 spot. Hold up. Wait. That might be the issue. No. The owner of the heaviest ball scored 5 points less than the player who has the green ball. The heaviest ball, 16, has to be 5 points less than the green ball. There's our issue. The 16-pound ball has to be 5 points less than the green ball. And we have the green ball at 110. Which would mean Josh needs to have the... Yeah, see, it's just a giant mess, so... How about this? We're at our time for the podcast for today. We'll leave this as a challenge for the person who can actually successfully solve this logic puzzle. And comment it on the YouTube video. Let's see who can actually get that done first. Sounds good. And when you post it, post your time for it, too. We'll see who can get it the fastest, but then again, somebody will, like, get it and then undo it and then redo it again to get it even faster. But, you know, let's see who can get the answer and tell us where we all went wrong. It's kind of hard to figure out really what I was doing unless you're following along and actually taking the notes and everything. But I thought this was a fun, different thing to kind of do. And, I mean, I enjoyed doing these logic puzzles. I hope you guys did too, even though they are very frustrating. And trust me, the ones I had to do for school had about, like, 6 in each category. So, there's, like, 6 people, 6 pets, 6 types of houses, 6 colored houses, and then 6 favorite foods. Like, that was one of my logic puzzles, and I had, like, an hour to do it. Anyway. Well, this was a slight bit of a cluster, but I had fun. And I hope you all had fun and learned something new and really stretched your brains, so... yeah. Obviously, you can use these Brainzilla and do them yourself if you really want to as well. They're fun. So, anyway, thank you everybody for watching and tuning in. For those of you who don't know, I do these podcasts every Sunday live at 9 a.m. And I stream every other day of the week video games. So, yeah. Check me out on YouTube, Twitch, or obviously check out the rest of the podcast. This is podcast number 18. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you everybody for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. And until the next time, everybody. Share, funky people.